Hey friends, Jason here for TheChartGuys, taking a look at our fuel cell names. Now it's important to look at context for today's trading action because we see a big red day in SPY yesterday, an even bigger red day in SPY today with this big volume candlestick, and that really ultimately influenced what happened in the fuel cell sector. A lot of names had bullish intent, but they saw a sell-off due to the market conditions that we're in. So the tides were against the bulls in a lot of the names that we're going to be looking at today. If the tides go green again in the overall market, that is going to favor the bulls, and we have another opportunity for upside potential. But right now, we're dealing with the turmoil and volatility and the fear that is impacting pretty much every ticker, except for maybe the coronavirus tickers that I'll cover in another video. So let's take a look at PLUG. Here's that bounce off of yesterday's EMA 12. We expected upside momentum. We saw that in the form of this open, but that market fear really brought us down, and we're still hunting for daily higher lows. So we have quite a ways to go here, looking for daily higher lows. I would say at this point, anything over 436 is going to be good. We're coming up against EMA 26 on the daily at 452. If we see another day of outright dumping in the market, it's possible that we'll just knock right through that. It's really going to come down to what the market wants to do. If we see some sideways action or even a little bit of hesitation, EMA 26 on the daily time frame is not a bad place to start looking for potential daily higher lows. Really comes down to what the overall market is going to do. We got to be prepared for all scenarios. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame, see if we are in a downtrend, and indeed we have developed a nice 4-hour downtrend of our lows, lower highs, and now lower lows, just eking out a break of that 476 support level. And then there's that 436. So as long as we can maintain higher lows over 436, we have the opportunity to change the 4-hour trend. And if and when the bulls come into the market and we see a surge of strength and we sort of shake off this recent bout of fear that has really is the resulting factor of today's big red action, we could change that 4-hour trend. And if we are able to do that, then things can be pretty optimistic for these fuel cell stocks. And I say that with more confidence because of the intent that we saw from yesterday's action, that high open, and then that sell-off. Let's take a look at FCEL. Here's another example of that intent. Bounce off of our EMA 12, a high open, and we closed right against our EMA 12. So that is good for the bulls. It's still going to be the same story on the 4-hour time frame, lower highs and lower lows, still in a 4-hour downtrend. We have 205 support. It's a double bottom, so it'll be a good area for us to look to if we see weakness tomorrow. Try bottom fish opportunity on that, and then we need to break to new highs. We'll be watching the hourly time frame for that. Here's that hourly uptrend. We've broken that hourly uptrend into an hourly downtrend, and 205 support is going to be key for us. At that point, if we find support at 205, we need to break whatever the most recent hourly lower high would be. So it'll be like something like this. Here's our double bottom support. We need to break that level. Then we change that hourly trend, see if that carries over to the 4-hour time frame. And if it does it get us over top of that most recent level, the 252, to change the 4-hour trend? Then we start looking at the daily with a little bit of optimism. BLD, not as strong as the other name. We did have that high open, but we had a red candlestick yesterday. So nice to hold the EMA 26, but we didn't see that bullish commitment in the same way that we saw the other names. But we still saw a higher open and then a red sell-off, again holding support on the EMA 26 on the daily time frame. 4-hour time frame is not as nearly as clear as the other names, but we're still in a 4-hour downtrend with 1090 support. BE, so last ticker, actually we're going to do one more after this. BE, not showing nearly as much strength. And this is a little bit interesting because we saw that we had a green day yesterday. We didn't bounce off of our EMA supports, which means that we're going to be facing more of a trend on the 4-hour time frame. And there she is. Maybe even on the hourly it'll look nice. Not quite as clear. But what we're looking at here is our highs, our lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and just developing that overall trend. So sometimes what we can do is go in and try and draw a trend. It would not be very pretty on the hourly time frame. Here's our hourly downtrend, a counter channel, and now setting new lows. So on the 4-hour time frame, we have a long way to go before we hit 760 support. That's going to be our last 4-hour higher low. So hourly support over here in the area of 941. But ultimately what we need to do is change the hourly trend. And that's the only way I would be looking for entry at this point on BE. BLNK, another similar story. Bounce off EMA 12, higher intent. Bulls certainly made a push for it today, but a lot of market fear caused a little bit of a sell-off. So let's take a look at that. There is that eagerness, high of 310. A little bit of equilibrium. Equilibrium breaks. 287 is a nice bounce, and then we just sort of chop sideways from there. So not a lot of clarity on BLNK, 4-hour time frame not giving us a beautiful trend, maybe on the hourly time frame, and there's that trend there. So we are looking at an hourly counter trend. Let's see what we can do. A lot of this is going to be really impacted by the markets. If we see green day tomorrow, then we will look to February 24th to be setting in that daily higher low, in which case we'll look for resistance at 335. That's it for today. I hope you have nothing but success in the markets in the next few days as the fear and volatility increases. So does our risk, but also does our opportunity. So stay safe, protect your money, and just take care of yourself.